10 years ago, on the night of October 31st, a small Midwestern town fell victim to an escaped killer. Under the cover of darkness, he carried out the most horrifying mass murder on record. 16 people in cold blood. Ever since that night, no one has forgotten his name. And Halloween has never been the same. Now, Michael Myers has come home. He has returned for one more night of unholy terror.
Michael!
Somebody help me!
He's here to kill that little girl and anybody who gets in his way.
Oh, God.
Who's gonna be next?
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Maybe nobody knows how to stop him.
Welcome to Slash, a horror movie podcast. In season 1 of Slash, we will be covering every movie in the Halloween film franchise, starting with the original 1978 John Carpenter classic and ending with the 2022 Halloween Ends. Or does it? Slash is available everywhere podcasts can be found. You can follow Slash on Twitter at /horror. And you can find every episode of Slash at fansnotexperts.com/slash. Enjoy the show. And remember, it's fun to be scared. Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Slash, where today we can finally say, welcome back, Mikey Myers. We're never going to have another Halloween movie without you. Our long drought of one movie is over. It's done. We can look back and on Season of the Witch as a distant memory, and we can finally get back to what Halloween is all about. Mikey Myers. Over the next 3 movies, I realized when I looked up on Wikipedia, and it talked about how the next 3 movies are kind of known as the Thorn Trilogy in the world of Halloween. It really is its own thing. I mean, the first 2 are one, the first one's really supposed to be its own story. Then you got 1 and 2. Then they turn into just kind of an extended version of the same story. Then you get 3, which is really its own thing. And when 4 comes, they're trying to build back to the original. But what happens is 4, 5, and 6 kind of become their own thing, starting with Jamie and focusing on this larger, weird thing that, I don't know, there's so many different things that go on in 6 that I'm looking forward to a couple weeks from now and talking about that. And then once we get, after that, it's H2O and Resurrection, right? And those are kind of their own things where they're trying to ignore 4, 5, and 6. It's crazy. The Halloween world, I feel like the timeline is so jumbled So I'm just kind of enjoying it for what it is at the time of watching it, and knowing that at least for these three movies, it's sort of in the same. They're all in the same universe for now. That's what I kind of know. But that's what I remember. But the thing about Halloween 4 is this was the big one for me. Okay, I think so. I'm 12 years old when this comes out. This comes out on October 21st, 1988. And I am 12 years old. At this point, I'm almost a teenager. I'm almost a man. So I'm already into enjoying scary movies. And not really being like frightened by them like some little kid. It's funny, my niece is 12 now, and I could never imagine her watching these movies. But at 12 years old, my dad took my brother and me to see this movie. And it's funny, my brother, I tweeted to my brother about it, and he also reminded me that Dad took us to see Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, and of course, Child's Play. Those are the big ones I remember. I think by the time 5 came around, we might have been old enough to get in without Dad. I don't know if our dad took us, not my dad, it was our dad, took us to Halloween 5. That I do not remember. But I know I saw it in the theater. I think he didn't. I think we were old enough by then. Well, my brother was 16 by this point. So, or actually he might have still been, no, he was 16 going on. No, yeah, who knows? But we did see it. I know that for sure. And I don't know, something about scary movies. And my dad, one of the last movies I saw in the theater was It 2. With my dad, me and my dad went to see It and It 2 together, chapters 1 and chapter 2. So something about scary movies that for years later we're still into them. But I remember as a kid, really young kid, Friday the 13th scared the hell out of me, and I don't think it helped that one of my neighbors had a hockey mask and used to try to scare me with it. That used to freak me out. And the Freddy stuff, that always scared me too. But for some reason, something about Michael Myers and Halloween, I think this was around the time, I'm 12 years old, so I think this is around the time I started, I remember discovering it and thinking the first movie was great. The second movie too, that has boobies, and this one, and like as a 12-year-old kid, I'm like, that's the one with the hot tub. That's crazy. Not realizing how not good of a movie it is. And I remember thinking Halloween 3, they stopped doing Michael Myers. What the hell? And I have this memory, and I don't know if it's real or not, or if it's all in my head, of we had this little TV in the kitchen and a commercial came on for Halloween 4, and I jumped up and I was like, this is it. This is it. It's back. Like Michael Myers is back. And I thought this was going to be the greatest thing. I remember being so excited for this. I think my brother probably already got Fangoria magazine. I was already into movies and special effects at this point. I just was really excited to see this movie and go get scared by this movie. I don't think I saw it on opening night, but I'm almost positive, within the first week or weekend, we went to see it. And what I couldn't believe is that this movie is short. It's under 90 minutes. It's only 88 minutes long. And yet, 10 years after the original, it has double the budget. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe some of the actors needed to get paid more. Maybe the bullet sound effects alone was $1 million. And I could have sworn this movie, they keep making them, so you think that these movies are making a boatload of money, but it didn't. Just a smidge under 18 million. I mean, so that's tripling the budget. I don't know what goes in for advertising. I remember seeing like, the movie budget's $5 million, but then the advertising budget's another. Whatever the movie costs, the advertising budget sometimes doubles it. Well, if that's the case, then make that the budget of the movie. So when you tell me the movie's $5 million, tell me that includes advertising. Otherwise, I don't know how much a movie has to make to break even. I assume this movie still made money, even though not enough money, because they kept making them. In the grand scheme of movie making, these movies are still cheap to produce, and they could, the next one comes out in '89. So it took a few years to get from 3 to 4. I love when I go look on a Wikipedia page for a movie, I love going under the development section just to kind of see how they got from A to B to the finished product, how the movie was decided to be made, and ultimately got made. And I'm reading this, I'm calling this Slashopedia. I'm reading this directly from the Wikipedia page. It says, after Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, executive producer Mustafa Akkad wanted to move further with the series and bring back Michael Myers. Producers Paul Freeman, a friend of Akkad with long credits to his name, explained in Fangoria magazine in 1988 that everyone came out of Halloween 3 saying, where the hell's Michael? That's what I said. John Carpenter was approached by Cannon Films, yikes, who had just finished the 1986 release of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 to write and direct Halloween 4. So Cannon Films went to John Carpenter and said, we want you to write and direct Halloween 4. He was probably like, huh? Deborah Hill planned to produce the film while Carpenter teamed up with Dennis Etchison, who under the pseudonym Jack Martin had written novelizations for both Halloween 2 and Halloween 3, blah, blah, blah. So they were to write the script for Halloween 4. Originally, he wanted Joe Dante. Then Carpenter wanted Joe Dante to direct the project. But it turns out that Akkad's like, no, I don't like the script. It's too cerebral. And he insisted that any new Halloween sequel must feature Michael Myers as flesh and blood killer. So what were they going to turn him into some kind of like ghost? But they rejected his script. And then it turns out that Deborah Hill called this guy and said, listen, just want to let you know, John and I have sold our interest in the title Halloween, and your script was not part of the deal. So Carpenter and Hill signed their rights away to Akkad. He gained the ownership, and they just wanted to go back to the basics for Halloween with Halloween 4, and it was the most successful. Well, that's not true. It was maybe the most successful of the sequels so far, but it wasn't the most successful of the Halloween movies. And they got a TV director, Dwight H. Little, to direct. And I think when you go to his IMDb, I think Halloween 4 is listed in known for. And I hate to say it, like when you look up actors in the movie Halloween 4 and you see that under their credits on IMDb, it says most known for, and it's Halloween 4, you think, well, you know what? At least they made a movie. It's like, maybe their career didn't go where they thought it would be. Like the guy who plays Brady in this movie, Eyebrows McGee. He's not most known for this, but I remember this and then Dazed and Confused. He was a big deal in that. He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then his, like, I don't know if they just couldn't take those eyebrows because he just didn't do much else after that. So I don't know. But when you look up the actresses and you think, best known for Halloween 4. Oh, well, and by the end of this movie, which actresses can be in Halloween 5. Some of them can't be. There's a very specific reason their characters can't be in Halloween 5. So why don't we start talking about the actual movie itself? As I said, this one's special for me. This is the first Halloween movie I saw in the theater. This was me at 12 years old being excited that this is a real Halloween movie because Dr. Loomis is back and Michael Myers is back. It's October 30th, 1988, and it's actually 9 days after the movie was released. So on October 21st, you're like, oh my God, they're in the future. And I do like that Donald Pleasence gets top billing over the title. Donald Pleasence in Halloween 4. They pause, they give it the return of Michael Myers. We get like a quiet kind of farm, just generic farm shots. Not generic, but like almost quaint, quiet, serene shots of a fall, autumn with Halloween decorations. And I don't know, it's very different from the rest of the movie, but it's kind of quaint. I don't know. It's a weird thing, weird way to say it. And we do see John Carpenter. He does get music credit by. And then we cut right to an ambulance. It's a rainy night. These ambulance drivers or EMTs are there to pick up a patient to transfer to Smith's Grove. The security guards talking, and that security guard looked very familiar. This guy's been in 1,000 million things. And when I went to see, what do I know him best for? Under known best for, it has Halloween 4. I thought, no. There's got to be more than that. Please don't let him be one of these. But I think he is. They're like, this is the guy Michael Myers who killed 16 people, and he's like, Jesus, and he says, Jesus has nothing to do with this place. And I for some reason I believe that was in the trailer that I saw on TV. I don't know, maybe it wasn't, but I feel like it was. So the security guy gives them, a quick little update that, oh yeah, Michael Myers and the doctor, both of them nearly burned to death. So that's your reference to Halloween 2 right there. I read one thing where the director says, oh, we just want to reference Halloween 1. I saw something in the IMDb trivia about that. I'm like, no, dude. The fact that Michael Myers' arm is burned up a bit and Loomis's face is burned up, and you talked about them, almost being burned to death, you're directly referencing Halloween 2. And apparently there's supposed to be a deleted scene, or there was a scene either scripted or filmed that was going to bridge Halloween 2 to this. There was going to be something towards the end of the movie, and he tells them to let him burn. But so they'd show that Loomis survived the explosion. I mean, this wasn't a fire really in Halloween 2. This was an explosion. They should have both been burnt to death, even though Michael walked out, and the flames were shooting out of the mask. So that means they were shooting out of his face. Unless he put the mask down, I don't know. It doesn't need to make sense. A lot of this dumb stuff doesn't need to make sense. It's just, sit back and enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? So right when they start taking the patient out, we get a first shot of his hand kind of hanging out of the gurney. I looked I was like, do I see a tattoo? I don't know if this was supposed to be I was like, are they already referencing? There was no way they thought that far ahead. There was no tattoo there. And I thought he was going to grab and kill someone, but he doesn't kill anybody yet. There's another doctor there who works at the facility. I'm pretty sure that's Drago's trainer from Rocky 4. Now that I think about it. But he looks pretty happy to see Michael Myers leaving. He has and he said how, he's been the doctor mainly. Loomis has mostly been ceremonially his doctor. Look at me with words now, but this guy basically was his doctor. So they're in the ambulance, and you see Michael's hand move a little bit, and the EMT's like, oh, does he have any family left? Oh, he's got a niece, but his niece he's too young to be his ward. I saw some IMDb trivia that said that was a mistake. They meant Michael be her ward. No. Your trivia is not under goof. It is not a goof. They're thinking they need someone to take care of this man who's in like an invalid state. That's what they're talking about. So what you put as a mistake is not a mistake. I don't think I had I didn't have the energy in me to write to IMDb to have them take it down. I've done that before. Sadly, I do a podcast called Geek Mentality. Find it at fansonexperts.com. And every March for the last 2 years, I've been, and this March coming up, I've been watching Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3 every single day. And by that I mean 1 year I watched Back to the Future every day in March. Last year I watched Back to the Future 2 every day, and this March I'll be doing Back to the Future 3 every day. And under the goofs, there was a thing that was mistaken, and I wrote to them and said, this is a mistake, and then blah, 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 and I wrote why it was a mistake, and they took it down. Yeah, that is the nerdiest thing I've ever admitted to doing, on IMDb at least. I'm sure there's more. But anyway, back to what they said, they mentioned the niece, and you see Michael get like his hand kind of balls into a fist, almost like, oh my goodness, I have a niece out there. I need to get out to her. So he immediately takes his thumb and sticks it in this dude's forehead, somehow crushes his forehead. We don't see anything else. We like, whoa, and we don't see the woman get killed. I think everything I saw in my version was good. Unfortunately, my version was completely uploaded to YouTube, so I think it's the theatrical cut or whatever cut, the most popular cut, because we don't see this other nurse get killed. And then this is when dumb stuff starts to happen. Like, there's dumb stuff in this movie, and as much as I enjoyed this movie and love talking about these movies, I'm going to point out when stuff is dumb. So we jump quickly over to a young Danielle Harris, played by the character Jamie Lloyd, played by Danielle Harris, in her first Halloween movie. The credits said introducing Danielle Harris. She is, I think the same age as me, or maybe a year younger, a year older. I have a cousin who was in love with her, so much to the point where for his 40th birthday, his brother got him a cameo of Danielle Harris. She embraces the Scream Queen aspect, and this is not the last time that we'll be talking about her in this series. For some reasons better than others, but she's there just looking out the window, and we see an ambulance. I'm like, what? So are they saying that the ambulance is like he already knows where she lives? That's what they're saying to me. They're showing an ambulance right outside. Like, there's some really bad editing choices in this movie, and that's it. That's it right there. Like, what's going on? Michael Myers finds out he has a niece and knows exactly where to go, and he's there already? Okay. And you think, okay, that's dumb, but okay. But no, it gets worse. We'll get there. And there's some really dumb stuff in this. So this older girl pops up named Rachel, and Jamie's like, do you love me like a sister, like a real sister? And the girl could have said, well, yeah, of course, I love you. Instead, she goes, well, we're not real sisters. Well, we could be, but I love you. And I know your parents died, and she's like, well, it's been 11 months. And I'm like, what do kids say? It's been 11 months. She's like, it's been months or it's been forever, but maybe a kid would say it's been 11 months. It just sounded weird. So we know that this is Michael Myers' niece, and her parents are dead, and her parents, obviously, if you don't know by now that her mom is Laurie Strode, they will smash you over the head with it in another scene in a few minutes. But that whole little, like, it's just exposition for exposition's sake, a little story dump of, you're my sister. Well, you're my foster sister. Well, your parents died. That was 11 months ago. Like, they explain everything so like, it can't just happen. They have to talk to each other about it like they've never heard it before so that we can hear it. They have to explain things to us. So she goes up to her room. She can't sleep. Oh, there's an open window in her room. Great. She goes through a box of mementos, and the only photo she has of her mom, who only died 11 months ago, is a photo taken during the original Halloween time. There's nothing sooner, and there's nothing of them together, which of course you can't have that. That's dumb, but they don't have a photo or something. They have something else. Have a note that says, Mommy loves you, something. But no, they have to be like, look, remember the girl from the original Halloween? Here's a photo of her from the production that I'm holding. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So Jamie gets up, and then we see a flash of lighting, and Michael Myers is already in the room, already with a mask on. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I want to talk to you about the mask in general. Like, why that mask? I know why the first time. I don't know why this time, but maybe there's a reason. So all of a sudden, Michael Myers is there. all of a sudden he's attacking her. It doesn't make any sense. And then you realize it's a dream. And when you realize it's a dream, to me, that almost makes less sense. How is she dreaming about Michael Myers in that mask? How would she know? Has she seen pictures? Are there photos? Are there artist renditions? Like, how would they know? I don't know. That's dumb. So we cut over to Halloween Day. It's Halloween Day in Haddonfield, and turns out that the Lloyd family, that's Jamie's foster parents and sister, they had a babysitter, and they call her foster, not adopted. So I don't know if she's just there for a little while. I don't know, but it's been 11 months. The babysitter canceled, so Rachel, the older foster sister, has to babysit Jamie on Halloween, while she'd rather be with her boyfriend. Of course, she had a big date planned. She thinks her whole life's going to be ruined because she has to babysit. Jamie hears this and thinks, I'm sorry I'm here. You'd have a great night without me. And Rachel apologizes and says, come on, I can take you out trick-or-treating. No, I don't want to go trick-or-treating. I'll take you out for ice cream. Double scoop. So it seems like their relationship is repaired. So Dr. Loomis shows up with the other doctor to chastise him about letting Michael Myers out. I notice he calls him it. And the doctor's like, he's completely incapacitated. What's the problem? He's like, no, I don't think so. I think he's obviously going to escape. The phone rings, and wouldn't you know, he escaped. I was thinking, wouldn't they know by now that he never showed up at Smith's Grove? But he's evil on two legs, Loomis calls him. The phone rings, and now they know. And it's like, before the guy can even say anything, Loomis heads off. He's like, I know what it is. I got to go. Heads to the accident scene. But apparently the other Loomis is slow because the other doctor caught up with him, got in the car. They went off to the accident scene where this Hoffman the doctor's name is Hoffman. He wants to nip it in the bud. He's like, it could be he's probably dead. They go to this accident scene. They see the ambulance flipped over. Loomis calls it a bus, but it's an ambulance. And I think I read in IMDb trivia originally it was going to be like a prisoner bus. So maybe nobody told Donald Pleasence to change the line to ambulance and they didn't catch it. But he says bus. This ambulance is flipped over. And you're thinking, wait, is it the ambulance from last night? And I'm counting 2 people in the back and 2 people in the front. So I'm going to say there's 4 people dead at this point. The kill count is 4. 2 ambulance drivers, because you wouldn't just have one person, and the 2 people, the EMTs in the back that he killed. Now this ambulance is upside down in this creek, and they're thinking Michael Myers, he could have been thrown. He could have been anywhere. He could be crushed underneath. And Loomis is like, no. He got away. I know it. And he's like, yeah, I need to head to Haddonfield. I'm heading to Haddonfield right now. Okay. It's a 4-hour drive. Boom. What? A 4-hour drive. Did we not, in the previous scene or the previous night, see the ambulance in Haddonfield outside Jamie's house? That wasn't part of the dream. She couldn't dream. I mean, it's bad enough if she can dream about Michael Myers on a mask, but if she can dream about an ambulance, no, this was not part of the dream. That happened. And what? I don't even know how to explain. So the ambulance was there. Then the ambulance drove 4 hours away and flipped over. Then he got out. Like, what? What was the ambulance shot outside? I don't understand it. Was it just a red herring? Isn't that what it's called when it's something to throw you off? No, these filmmakers are not, that good. If they were, they would have showed someone getting out of the ambulance that wasn't, just a neighbor or something. That was supposed to be a Michael Myers outside for some reason. And yet he's also 4 hours away. So dumb. So we cut over to a gas station where, you and I know already what's going to happen, right? We see this gas station mechanic in a mechanic's outfit. You're like, sorry, dude, Michael needs your clothes. And you see Michael, he's all bandaged up and he kills this guy. We just stabs him with this giant pole of some sort, this giant pipe. But he's still in his like hospital gown. His face is all wrapped up because you don't want to see his face. And I don't think Michael wants to see his face. Maybe it's all burnt up. I don't know. But at the same time, I don't think Michael's ever been comfortable with his face. The moment he had a chance to cover up, he covers up. Maybe he's just in bed, like ashamed to kill. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but he put a mask on as a kid, and that thing has stuck with him. Even when he's in the hospital, he's just as a small child sitting there staring off into nothing. Even though I think that was deleted scenes in part 2, so it's not quite. It happened. As far as I'm concerned, we're still in a world where Michael Myers is Laurie's sister and Jamie is Michael Myers' niece. I'm sticking with that until I'm told otherwise. But yeah, my whole thing is, why does he need to wear a mask at all? And it seems like now at least his face is very, very, very badly burned. But he shows up, and as I said, he goes in there and he kills the attendant to get the jumpsuit. And of course, Loomis just happens to stop at the same exact place to get some gasoline. He goes inside and like, hello, I want to pay for my gasoline that I already pumped, but no one was here. And he sees the mechanic dead and hung up on chains. Why is he hung up on chains? I don't know. Although Michael Myers did see Loomis outside, so maybe he's thinking I'll hang up this dead body so it'll scare Loomis. I don't know. Loomis is like, oh crap. Goes into the diner area, and guess what? There's a waitress killed there too. And according to IMDb trivia, that waitress is Kelly Lookinland, also known as the wife of Mike Lookinland and Bobby Brady from the Brady Bunch. Mike Lookinland, yes, the Bobby Brady, was a production assistant on this movie. And Kelly Lookinland, his wife, played the dead waitress. And apparently, Kelly Lookinland has additional crew and art department on Halloween 4 and 5. So look at that. A nice Brady Bunch connection. I wrote down Mike Lookinland, and for some reason I was thinking Mike from the Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. So now I'm like thrown off, like, wait a second. It's a dude from the Brady Bunch. That's crazy. So Loomis is ready to make some phone calls. Michael smashes a phone. He pulls another phone out, kills all the phones. And then we get what might be one of my favorite parts in this whole movie. Loomis turns and sees Michael. And he's like, Michael? And they stare at each other from really far off, like rooms apart, but through this long hallway. And Michael doesn't have the mask on yet. His face is all bandaged up. He's got the mechanic's costume on, or outfit on. And Michael, please don't go to Haddonfield. Spare those people, please. And something about that scene, I don't know, I really liked it. And then Loomis starts shooting at him, like bam, bam, bam. And then it cuts to Loomis and cuts back, and nobody's there. Now, to you and me, it makes it seem like he disappeared in thin air. Like, it makes no sense. If you look away, like I'm looking away, and then look back, and then he's gone, okay, that plays into real life. But in the fact that Loomis is staring at him the whole time, and then all of a sudden Michael's gone, makes no sense to me. So Loomis runs outside. He's like, where's Michael? And then all of a sudden, Michael steals a tow truck. I wrote down toy truck. That would have been weird. He stole a tow truck. He runs over some gas pumps. He almost runs over Loomis. And the place just gets all blowed up. Loomis jumps for cover. And the stuntman did a really nice job, because if that was actual Donald Pleasence jumping over those garbage cans, his dead body would still be there to this day. Like, they would have been like, do you want to find, this is Donald Pleasence's grave. It's right here around this gas station set that we have for Halloween 4. There he is. We just kind of threw the dirt over him because it was no use. Anyway, it just looked, you could tell it was a stunt person anyway. So Loomis jumps, as I said, Loomis, the actual Loomis, does jump for cover. It's just not Donald Pleasence. And Michael Myers is now gone, headed back to Haddonfield. We jump over to Haddonfield, and Jamie's at school, and apparently the kids she goes to school with are all little shits because they're like, hey, there's Jamie. Her uncle's the boogeyman. Hey, Jamie, why don't you go cry to your mother? Oh, wait, your mother's dead. Jamie's an orphan. Like, Jamie's an orphan. Jamie's an orphan. Like, these kids are terrible. But I did love one of the kids was wearing a mask costume. If you don't know mask, think of, like, it's not quite Transformers. It's not quite G.I. Joe. Mash them together, and you kind of have mask. Look it up. A mobile artillery something like that. I don't know. It was an acronym. But you could have these cool like trucks that turned into weapons, or like a green motorcycle that turned into a helicopter. I don't know. Anyway, I was probably too old to wear that costume at 12, but looking back in my 40s, I think, wow, that costume is so cool. And also, they know, like, I feel like in a movie like this, in the future, they'd be like, oh, we never told her, but her uncle is Michael Myers. But apparently the whole friggin' town knows. Oh, that's Jamie Lloyd. Her mother was Laurie Strode. She was Jamie Strode originally, and her uncle is Mikey Myers. And Jamie Myers originally, I guess, my God, or whatever the hell her name was, or Laurie Myers. I don't know. It's complicated. We got Myers, we got Strode, we got Lloyd. But everybody in the town knows. And here's my thinking. Okay, maybe if you're going to have a family, foster her. Now, they said foster. Okay? I'm thinking they're adopted and the director and writers just didn't know the difference and just wrote down foster. But if you're going to have a foster for this kid whose mother was killed and her uncle killed 16 people in this town, maybe put her in a different goddamn town. That's just a thought. It's just a thought. And I have to say that it's a great thought because I thought of it. Like, what I mean is it just makes all the sense in the world. Why would you have her in the town you're in, where everyone knows that her uncle is a killer? It is dumb. So she goes and hides behind a tree. Then Rachel shows up with a car. She's like, Jamie, what's the matter? And come on, let's go to the drugstore and get, first we're going to go get ice cream. But then she's like, I want to go trick-or-treating. Now, all of a sudden, she wants to go trick-or-treating. It doesn't make any sense to me either. So they're in the car with Rachel's friend, Lindsay. And I'm thinking, wait, Lindsay? The IMDb trivia of this page says that is supposed to be Lindsay from Halloween, the original Halloween. 10 years later. It checks out, I think, right? Think about it. She'd be 17, 18 at this point. And they also said that one of the kids at the drugstore that they go to later, the little, whatever, value store, wherever they go shopping for masks, was supposed to be Tommy, but for budgetary reasons, they had to cut those characters out of the movie. But a girl named Lindsay in Halloween in Haddonfield, that seems too much of a coincidence to not actually be happening, to not actually, be real. So they go to this store and, really last minute costume they're going for. And it's a store where Jamie's boyfriend works at, Brady, who, Mada me, this guy's got eyebrows galore. We're nearing the 30-minute mark. And, as I talked about in the past, for some of these, especially these movies that are 90 minutes, or this one's a little shorter, those 30-minute, plot points come around the 30-minute mark. So I'm thinking, maybe we did see the tow truck pull into town. So maybe the plot point is Michael has found his way back to Haddonfield again. I don't know. But we do see the tow truck and, Michael, actually, in a few minutes, Michael does get something that is very important to him. So that kind of works. But they show the tow truck, and if that's not enough, you get a little music to be like, hey, everybody, look, there's the tow truck. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we see it. So she walks around the store by herself. The store has, we saw inside the store before they got there. There's a girl that works there, this blonde, pretty girl that's kind of snobby and doesn't want to be with a kid who asks her out. There's like a couple other kids, and one of them is Brady, who is Rachel's boyfriend. Rachel goes in to see him. Has to explain to him that, I can't hang out with you tonight because I have to babysit. He's like, come on, man. Can we talk afterwards? Yeah, sure, we can hang out afterwards because I have to take her trick-or-treating. So afterwards, which is like by 8 o'clock. It's not that big of a deal. Jamie goes and walks off on her own. And of course, in the store at the exact same time is Michael Myers. Well, first we see the Michael Myers mask in the background. And again, you'd think with all these murders in this town, maybe they'd either A, stop manufacturing that mask, or B, stop carrying it in Haddonfield at the very, very least. But no. In fact, they not only sell one, they sell multiple of these masks. In fact, I think at some point Michael Myers wears a different mask, and we'll get there. So Jamie finds the perfect costume, the clown, which is like a family tradition. It's beautiful. We see I wrote down Brady's kind of a dick. So she holds up the costume of the clown, Jamie, holds it up in the mirror, and all of a sudden pictures a young Michael Myers wearing the clown. And I'm like, what? How? I know, is that really there just to remind us idiots at home going, oh, look, the clown, just like Michael Myers wears. And all of a sudden we see a hand take the mask off the shelf, the Michael Myers mask. At this point, I'm not calling it the friggin' Shatner mask. It's the Michael Myers mask. And Jamie looks up and goes, just as he puts the mask over his face. And he's probably like, I'm me again. Now he scares the hell out of this Jamie. And nobody notices. All this glass breaks. They run over. They see Jamie. She says, I had a dream. The Nightmare Man again. So she did picture him in the mask in the dream. That doesn't make any sense. And nobody sees this guy 6'5", 230 in a giant white mask in the store because he's still there, hiding behind. They show him in the broken glass. And so I would say plot point 1 is Michael getting his mask and getting to Haddonfield. I'll put that all together and say, there you are, folks. There's your half-hour plot point 1. We show Loomis now, and he's hitchhiking. This whole scene is really kind of weird. He's hitchhiking along, and these teens show up, but they look like they're remember the car full of kids in Superman the movie? They're like, come on, Clark, we're going out. And Lana, and he's like, hi, how you doing? Bye. He can't hang out with them, and then he goes and he kicks the football to the moon. That's what it reminded me of. But this time they're like, come on, old man. They see this old hobble guy thank you. I have to get to Haddonfield. And they're like, screw you. And they take off and they leave him. I wanted all of those kids to be murdered by Michael, but we never see them again. And while he's standing there, just out of nowhere, this pickup truck shows up behind him. And inside is a kooky old reverend who is also drinking while he's driving. He talks about hunting damnation. He goes, you're after it too. You're after it. And Loomis is like, yes, I don't know if I'll ever get it. And he offers Loomis a drink from his little flask. And Loomis is like, yeah, sure. You can see his eyes light up. Yes, I would love a drink. So they're just drinking and driving their way back into Haddonfield. And I guess that's how Loomis gets into town. A kooky reverend with bumper stickers all over his car, drinking, delivers him to evil, not from evil. So we're back in Haddonfield, and it's trick-or-treating time. And, of course, the parents go out, which, usually leads to murder. And we see someone outside, and I'm assuming it's Michael watching. He must have looked them up in the phone book. I mean, I know he didn't have the dream too, right, to figure out where he was. And the ambulance thing didn't make any sense, so they couldn't have been him. So he must have looked up where they lived. And Rachel and Jamie head out to go trick-or-treating. And Michael just walks into the house. We see him go there, and he goes upstairs, and he looks through the box of photos, which is still on the floor right where the prop department left it. He does see another picture of Jamie Lee Curtis looking a little older there. So I guess, I don't know why they didn't show that one. I don't know. A little weird. Loomis shows up at the police station to warn the cops, and of course, they don't believe him. I mean, every time you bring up Michael Myers, people are like, what are you, crazy? What are you, crazy? It's like, hello, There's not one news, like there should be a news report that a friggin' ambulance flipped over with a psycho killer in it and all these people are dead. One guy has a hole through his head. Maybe it's from the crash or maybe it's because Michael Myers squeezed his head. I don't know, but maybe people should know. Like, I know there's no internet, but there's still phones and there's still televisions and there's still satellites. But it's like nobody ever wants to believe that, what's going on there. But he does finally kind of convince the new sheriff. They're talking about Laurie Strode's daughter. He's like, oh, you mean Jamie Lloyd? It's like everybody knows in the town. Everybody. So at least he's like, okay, I will go, investigate stuff with you. So I'm like, okay, this guy, the sheriff, seems okay. Now it's finally trick-or-treating, and Jamie makes some friends. They go up to a house together, and I think Michael's off in the background. We see him too, just kind of standing around. Michael's like everywhere in this movie. And the house they go to, they open it up, and there's the blonde chick from the store. And who's in the background but Rachel's boyfriend? She's dressed in just a t-shirt. I'm pretty sure they were doing sex together. I know it. I just know it. So Rachel's all pissed off. She's yelling. They're arguing. And in all that, Jamie goes off with those kids. And now Rachel lost track of her. Like, really great job babysitting. Then we jump over to a nearby bar. And for a moment, I thought we were in Halloween Kills. They're listening to a news report saying that everyone has to go home. All businesses should be closed. The bar's like, huh? What are you talking about? So he goes to call the police department, but the phone just rings and rings. And they're like, well, that's crazy. That never happens. I forgot all about these townies. Like, remember Halloween Kills? All those townies showing up. Evil dies tonight. Even though it didn't. Like, originally, I feel like we got it from this one, from the fourth one, because they're ready to like, they got all their guns, all their trucks, and they're ready to get her done. They want to go see what's going on with the police department. While that's going on, Loomis and the new sheriff show up at the Lloyd house because anyone could walk in. And, Loomis, they're looking around. He looks at the pictures, and Loomis is like, oh, he's been here. And the doctor's like, how do you know? And he looks in the closet, and there's another effing dead dog. It's like, Michael, kill all the teens and townsfolk you want, but please leave the dogs of Haddonfield alone. I am tired of you killing and possibly eating dogs. I don't know, but enough of this. All right. That you want to be evil. That's how you get evil. Okay. It's not by killing, sexed up teens or killing police officers who aren't looking the right direction and not believing the story. No. You get me to hate you by killing sweet, innocent doggies. So they head off and they leave because they need to, I guess, get back to the police station, make sure everything, they know what's going on and that it's all real. So they leave one deputy there to kind of watch the house if anyone comes back. At this point, I think the kill count is 6 because we got 4 in the ambulance. And Loomis did say there's 6 bodies between here and here. That's how he got the cop to go with him. So I was ready for that deputy to be killed right away. But we're at 6. Oh, wait, no. Now we're at 7. Because for some reason, Michael then gets to the this electrical grid. And there's this guy there who has a hard hat on named Bucky. He's like, hey there, I'm not going to fall for this Halloween shit. What are you doing? And Michael grabs him and goes, huzzah, and throws him onto the transformer, knocks out all the power of Haddonfield. So apparently Michael knew this was going to happen. Like, while he was following Jamie and following them, he says, I know, let me go to the nearest electrical grid and take the power out. And that's what he did. And he nailed it. He did it. It worked perfectly. Back in town, all the houses are going dark. Parents are driving around, picking their kids up, getting them off the streets. Nowadays, most kids are trick-or-treating with their parents. But back then, they just let everyone do what they want, it seemed like. So while that's going on, Rachel is still looking for Jamie, who is all by herself now all of a sudden. And they seem to be the only two people outside in this entire neighborhood. So Rachel's looking. She sees like someone standing in this mist and she's like, oh, she starts running. And I'm thinking to myself, why is she running? Okay, she saw one person outside on the night of Halloween. She has no idea that there's a killer out there. She has no idea that someone, you shouldn't be on the street, that there's a curfew. Unless she overheard someone saying something, she has no idea what's going on, unless she read it in the script. That's my only thinking that she could have done that. So Jamie's walking around, Rachel's walking around. Finally, they find each other. Oh, good. They're fine. They're reunited. And oh, good. All of a sudden, the police and Dr. Loomis are there. They're safe. Everyone seems to be fine. But then Loomis sees Michael off in the distance. And then there's another Michael. And then there's another Michael. And there's like 3 or 4 of them. He's about to take his gun out and shoot one of these guys. And he's like, no, I'm sorry, don't shoot. And they're like, ha, ha, ha. They're laughing. They run off. And it's like, what the hell? Not since those little shits in the beaches of Amity, in the waters of Amity, had their plastic fin. He made me do it. That sort of reminds me of these kids pulling pranks that are, while murders and killings are happening. But thankfully, they're safe, and they can keep those kids safe and head back to, try to deal with Michael Myers. As they're driving away, we see the real Michael Myers standing right behind them. So they head back to the police station. And the police is in shambles. Loomis and the sheriff went in, and like the sheriff just goes, they wouldn't have given up without a fight. Like, all these people are dead, and he's like, well, they wouldn't have given up without a fight. Like, just very nonchalant, not like I'd be on my knees going, no, all my friends, all my coworkers, people I was sworn to protect and take care of, they're dead. He's like, well, they wouldn't have given up without a fight. That's all he could say. They're all dead. Not from a man, but from evil. And now the townies show up and outside the sheriff's station, and Loomis lets them know that Michael Myers is there. And the sheriff's like, what have you done? You've unleashed them on the town. He's like, you've created a lynch mob. He says, they may be the best defense you have left with all these cops dead. But there's still that cop over at Jamie in Rachel's house. He's alive. And he's heading back to the police station. And I thought, okay, he's going to die. No. He's just heading back to the police station with Michael effing Myers in the back seat. Oh, my God. And I assume they're going to the police station. That's what I wrote down. We jump over. We see the Lloyds are back home. But the house is black and nobody's there. The townies, they think they found Michael. And they start shooting. And they're shooting, and they're shooting, and the bang, 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 and some really silly sound effects of like guns, bouncing off things. It just sounded like something out of an 80s video game or cartoon. And it turns out they killed Ted Hollister. He was in the bushes, and they killed him. I don't know who Ted Hollister is, but he's dead. So I'm not counting this in the kill count because Michael didn't kill him. He was killed, but it wasn't a murder. This was an accident. So I'm not going to count that. We go back to Kelly's house, and he and Brady, they're sitting by the fire, and they're about to get it on. But her dad's the sheriff. And wait, the sheriff's at the house, and he's there with Rachel and Loomis and Jamie. They're all at the house together. And now the deputy shows up, and who's in the back seat with the deputy. So the sheriff tells Brady, hey, you ever use a gun? He's like, yes. So he hands him a gun and some bullets. And Brady's like, can I ask what's happening? Sheriff's like, there's no time for that. Thinking, you give this kid a gun, maybe just fill him in a little about what's going on. Maybe just a tad. But he tells him to go up and secure the attic. And he says, if I ever catch you with my daughter, I'll use that shotgun on you. He lets him know that, if you ever were to do anything with my daughter, I'm going to murder you. So the deputy goes outside. He sees the car door is open to his car. He's like, oh, wait, back door is open. That's not good. It was closed when I left, when I went inside. So Brady goes up and checks on Rachel, even though she's pissed at her because she was doing it, messing around with old Kelly. And he's like, what's going on? She mentions Michael Myers, and he's like, who's that? Like, you live in this town, and you don't know who Michael Myers is? School children know who the boogeyman is. Knows who Jamie Lloyd is. Everybody knows. So they're securing the house, getting, Brady's up in the attic. The cop is outside. They're trying to secure every window and door to kind of barricade themselves in, even though you and I know already that Mikey Myers is already in the house. Sheriff has this battery-powered radio who's trying to reach any outside, stadies or outside police department to come and help anybody who's available. Kelly's busy boiling water. I guess it still has no pants on, just a long shirt, making coffee or tea for everyone. Rachel leaves Jamie and is like, do we know what's going to be happening? Talks to the deputy a little. I don't know why she left Jamie. And we see a little shot of Michael in the background. It's very well lit because his face comes in. And I say well lit, like too well lit. So the sheriff finally gets connected with the next town. They're going to send help. But it's not over yet, Loomis says. And he's like, I think they'll be at the Lloyd's house. So he leaves. Of course, Loomis leaves. He loves to wait in empty houses for something. He did it in the first Halloween. And finally, he's just like, I'm going to go over there. Maybe he'll be over there. Guess what, Loomis? You're wrong. Okay? Sheriff himself is going to be like, I got to go too. There's a lot of townies out there, and I need to see what's going on. So, Rachel, you stay by the radio, okay? If you hear anything about the police stations coming, please tell the deputy, okay? Let him know right away. She's like, okay. So think about it. Loomis and Sheriff both leave, even though they're convinced that this monster wants to kill Jamie. They both leave. Not smart. And they do leave one deputy there. And Kelly brings him some coffee, and he's sitting in the chair. And, oh no, he's not sitting in the chair. He's already dead. She looks down, she sees his dead body. And who's in the chair the entire time? Mr. Michael Myers, that classic prankster. He's at it again. He points the gun at her, gets up. She's like, he points the gun at her. But instead of shooting her, he goes, yeah. And he stabs her right through the body, right through her torso, picks her up, sticks her up against the wall. I thought he was going to do the head turn, but he just pokes her through and kills her. And now she is dead. So are we at 9 now? The sheriff, the deputy and her. I think that's the kill count. I think we're at 9. So Rachel did hear from the other town. So she goes to tell the deputy, but finds him and Kelly dead. And we're at that hour point now, and I'm thinking, okay, this is when the quiet time of the movie's over. Things are about to go a little crazy, and peeps are going to start dying. It didn't quite work out that way, but I still feel like it's didn't. Now it's time. We see Brady still alive. He wants to bail, and she's like, wait, I have to get Jamie. And he's like, we got to go. There's no time for that. Like, what a douche. He's ready to let the little girl get killed, but they can't get out. They're trapped, and of course, here comes Michael. So they run up the stairs. Brady's yelling at them, get out of here, get out of here. But for some reason, every time you turn, they've moved like 1 foot. His gun gets jammed. Michael Myers picks him up, snaps his neck. He's dead. Boom, kill count 10. Jamie and Rachel go up into the attic, and the chase is on. But they break a window. They climb out onto the roof. I'm like, why do they keep going up higher? But of course, Michael gets up on the roof too. And Jamie, I think she takes the antenna wire and wraps it around. Rachel wraps Jamie in the wire, starts to lower her down. She's hanging off the roof. It's kind of like, okay, this is kind of a cool stunt, I guess. Kind of a cool action moment. Jamie's hanging off the roof. Rachel and Michael Myers get tussled. She falls off the roof. Jamie gets down somehow. They don't really explain it. She's hanging there, then she's down. She's like, come alive, Rachel, come alive. And I'm like, what's going on here? Then Michael Myers also got off the roof way too effing fast. I don't know how the hell that happened. And Jamie takes off running down the street. Help, help, help. Now, this is cool. This is from the trivia, IMDb trivia. It says, Danielle Harris revealed in 25 Years of Terror When her character runs through the neighborhood screaming for help, someone legitimately called the cops. And I quote, "I was banging on doors, yelling for someone to help me, after I got lost trick-or-treating or something. So 4 o'clock in the morning, after I got lost trick-or-treating or something." She doesn't quite remember when it happened in the movie. That's cute. So 4 o'clock in the morning, they're hearing a little screaming in the streets, probably a little girl screaming in the streets. And someone called the cops. The cops came. Then the story ended. It ended up in the Inquirer that I was almost kidnapped off the set. That's how the Inquirer goes with it. That's pretty funny. So Rachel is stirring. She's not dead. Loomis is back. All of a sudden he shows up and he's like, "Come on." She's like, "We got to go." She's like, "I want to go home." He goes, No, that's what he'll be looking for you. Come on, let's go. Is there a schoolhouse? Is there a schoolhouse around here? Let's go to the schoolhouse. I'm sorry, Doc. You said he'll be looking for you there, but clearly you're wrong since you went there. And while you were there, Michael was busy killing everybody at the sheriff's house. You just left. But now he wants to go to a schoolhouse. He thinks they'll be safe there. So he goes there and he shoots his way into the schoolhouse, which, what does that do? That sets off the alarm, which basically brings the entire friggin' town, including Michael Myers, to get there. 2 seconds later, Michael Myers is there, and God damn it, he's blonde. He's got a full head of blonde hair. And I guess I read that at some point in the movie, during the making of the movie, they had different masks. They were going to go with a blonde mask. Then they didn't, to kind of make it a little different. He gets a mask off the shelf. Why wouldn't it be a little different? It wouldn't make sense that it's the same one every time. It's fine that it looks a little different. And Ben Tramer well knows that these masks come in different hair colors. And it would have been interesting if he grabbed a bunch of them, but he didn't. He grabbed one, and it was the same the whole time. Then in one shot, it's blonde, and then it wasn't. So in the actual movie, they were going to go with one. As I said, they were going to go with a different color. They were going to change the eye holes, all these different things. And at a certain point, they couldn't get it to match right for reshoots. So I guess maybe they want people not to notice, but you notice these things. It's crazy. So Michael throws Loomis through a door or something, whatever. Loomis falls down. Then Jamie runs, and now Michael seems to be up a flight of stairs, or Jamie's down a flight of stairs. Again, it doesn't make any sense. She falls down some stairs. Michael almost gets her, but Rachel shows up with a fire extinguisher. Explain to me what happens here. She shows up, shoots him with a fire extinguisher. Now that is like, what is that, cold air? Oh, cold air. The guy gets shot and stabbed and all kinds of, and lit on fire, but a little cold air is going to bother him. So, and also, how did Rachel show up? But I'm thinking the alarm. They heard the alarm and they followed the alarm to the school. So did the townies. They show up. Rachel gets Jamie out and carries her out. So apparently they just walked right by Michael because of the friggin' fire extinguisher. Oh, good. Now they're safe, I guess. They're like, he's still in there. And they're like, let's go get him. And was it Jamie or Rachel? They're like, no, let's just leave and let the state troopers deal with it. And one of the guys is like, that makes pretty good idea. Let's do that. So they're like, screw it. Let's get out of here. They all pile in the pickup truck and they head out of town. And thank goodness the troopers are heading in. They're heading out. Everybody's safe. In fact, there's a stop. One trooper stops and tells them, this is where you need to go to get safe. Everything's going to be fine. But remember when they were at the school and everyone jumped out of the truck? For a second, they were going to go in the school and then they changed their mind. Apparently, that gave Michael Myers enough time to somehow hide and hold on to the side of the truck the entire time when they're stopped, even when they stopped to talk to the trooper. He was there with a knife. He climbs into the car, into the back of the truck, and kills everyone in the truck. 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming they're all dead. We saw some stabbings, one guy thrown out. I'm going to say killed all 3. So bing, bang, boom. The kill count is now at 13. And nobody inside the truck notices these things. Not at all. So now Michael smashes the windshield and basically rips the face off the driver of the truck. So there's kill number 14. Rachel kicks the dead driver out of the car. She takes control of the truck and she's swerving it back and forth. And the stuntman in the Michael outfit holds on for dear life. And finally, she realizes, she slams on the brakes. He rolls off. He stands up, and she's like, I'm going to kill you. And she hits the gas, takes off, and tells him to die, I think. And he doesn't even try to move. He just gets hit by a car, smashed by the car. For some reason now we hear sirens again, and I'm thinking, how the hell did the cops know to turn around and follow this? Unless they radioed ahead and saw that they never showed up at the other checkpoint, it doesn't make any sense why the cops would do this. And now it's the sheriff from our town who, okay, he's there. I don't think Loomis is there. He might be, but then there's there and more town folks show up. Rachel's like, stay in the car, Jamie. She goes to talk to the cops, and Jamie's like, I'm not going to stay in the car. I want to go see this guy who I've been running from the whole time and hold his hand. She goes over to Michael Myers' body, holds his hand, and you see Michael, like his hand opens like he can't grab. Then he moves a little bit. She turns around. She's like, huh? They said, get down. Michael Myers gets up, and they all just unloaded him. More terrible sound effects from bullets, pew, 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 everything. And then they're shooting him with everything they got. Michael falls down a well, and I guess he's dead. He's gone. You think maybe, okay, we should go look for the body? But nope, they're not going to look for the body. They just assume that he's dead. And Loomis says he's gone. The threat is gone. Michael's buried in hell where he belongs. But nope, they're like, okay, let's go back to the Lloyd house. Everything's fine. Mom's like, it's been a long day. And Loomis is like, they survived this terror. They can survive the memories. No, like, Loomis, you're a doctor. You don't know anything about PTSD, especially with these kids. These are kids. This is going to freak them out for life. Maybe even sooner than that, because Jamie's like, or Mrs. Lloyd's like, I'm going to bring Jamie upstairs. She goes to run a bath. And then all of a sudden, we get a point of view, a POV shot, that we've gotten in the past. And someone grabs scissors, and we're thinking, are we at this point assuming it's Michael? But then a little mask goes on, not pulled over, but pushed on, like it would be a clown mask, like something we've seen in the original movie. And then we see the mask looking at the foster mom, and the mom turns and looks, and then we hear a blood-curdling scream. And for some reason, Loomis is the first one there. They should all show up together, but Loomis is the first one at the bottom of the stairs. And he goes, no. And then we get Jamie in the clown costume holding up bloody scissors, just like her uncle did all those years ago. And Loomis goes to pick up the gun and point at her, and the sheriff knocks the gun out of her hands. And then the sheriff looks on. He's holding the gun like, huh? And Rachel and Mr. Lloyd, they're all looking on in disbelief as this little girl holds the bloody scissors up next to her. And as a 12-year-old kid, I thought this was the greatest ending to a movie ever. I remember being in shock, in awe. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Is she the new killer? Is she the new Michael Myers? Like, what's going to happen? I remember as a kid at that point thinking she's going to go on to be a killer, and she killed her mom. And forgive me if I'm wrong. At this point, we don't know if she's dead. I think she survives. I think they do that. And I don't know if somehow they make some weird psychic connection between Jamie and Michael. I remember the only thing I remember about part 5, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I feel like we see Michael get shot into the well, and then he goes body surfing down like these rapids through this lake, and he ends up in a blind man's house who takes care of him for like a year. Is that how we let a year pass so Jamie can get older? And isn't it like Frankenstein where he's lived with a blind man, but then he kills the blind man? Am I right? It's been a long time since I've seen 5. I feel like I've seen 4 more than that. Or I remembered it more, but I don't remember much about part 5. But this is the end of Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. And Michael's back, and he's never going away. I loved the end of this movie. I mean, it's silly looking at it now, but it is. I think it spooked me out. It scared me. That visual of Danielle Harris holding that knife to me is still scary as hell. It's a great visual, and it just, I'm in my 40s, 46 now. It's still just like looking at it makes me feel like a 12-year-old kid getting freaked out by it the first time, but freaked out in a way that I thought was amazing. And again, this movie, put it this way, next to 3, it's, I don't know, I guess it's still way better. You got Loomis, you got, and you got Michael Myers. It's probably better than 2, actually, because 2, basically you bring Jamie Lee Curtis back just to stay in bed most of the time. So I'm, obviously 1 is the first one. I'm going to say 1, I'm going to rank them so far. 1 is the first one. 4, 2, 3. I think I'm always going to, well, I shouldn't say always, but I think I'm going to keep 3 pretty low on the totem pole, only because it's its own thing, but its own thing isn't all that great. There's still some cool things in it, but anyway, yeah. What I like now is part 5 will pick up almost exactly where we left off, I think. And, it's a continuation of this story. Like I said, 4, 5, and 6 are their own thing, their own trilogy. And what I'm thrilled about is 5 and 6 and others, at least 5. Well, I shouldn't say 5 and 6. I know 5 for sure is on Paramount Plus, so I don't have to watch a grainy YouTube copy, and I don't have to pay for it. I went and rented the last 2 because I didn't see I saw 2 and 3. I rented. 4 I saw on YouTube, so I watched it on YouTube. It was good enough. Got the point across. Yeah, and I'm excited to watch an actual streaming version of part 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. They just want to keep putting Michael Myers in the titles. This is before something called SEO was even invented in keywords, but they knew what they were doing. So, my friends, I think that's it. I think we did another Friday in the books. I want to thank everybody who has been continuing to listen, and any new listeners out there. I really appreciate it. I started something new with this podcast, and starting something new specific with this podcast is I'm putting every episode up as an audio file on YouTube. So if you prefer to use YouTube to listen to podcasts or listen to things, or you use YouTube Music or whatever, you can find it there. Go to youtube.com/@fansnotexperts. You can find it there, or in the show notes for if you go to fansnotexperts.com, you'll see a link to the YouTube channel there as well. And if you just go to fansnotexperts.com/live, that'll bring you to the YouTube channel too, I think. I don't know, I have a lot of URLs that point back to the YouTube channel, but I put them up there too. So really it's just about getting it as many earballs on it as possible. And I thank you so much for listening to this, and I can't wait to come back again next week to talk more Michael Myers. Until then, my friends, you can find me on Twitter or on Instagram @Geek Mentality, and you can find the show on Twitter @/horror. Horror / is a horror podcast and / a podcast. And I was trying to think, do I just want to do slasher franchises? And I'm thinking in the future, who knows what the future will bring, but everything I will be doing will be trying to scare me, and hopefully scare you too. Even if it's scaring us just because the movies are so darn bad, or scaring us because they're so darn good. All right, that's it, my friends. Thanks again for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And until next Friday, my friends, remember, it's fun to be scared.
Fans Not Experts.